Hello, this is my November TBR. I'm going to be talking about the books that I'm hoping to read in November. However, I do often not stick to my TBRs at all and I just kind of go wild. So we'll see what actually ends up happening at the end of the month. But for now, these are the books that I'm kind of feeling. I would really like to do some mood reading in November, but at the same time, I am going to be prepping for Bookmas. I was hoping to do some prep in October and I did do a little bit, but I've been sick with COVID, which is why I'm quite breathy at the moment. I don't sound my best and that's because I've been ill. So I'm having to pack a lot of prep into November. I do have some days off, so it should all work out and be fine. So I can't quite mood read to the levels that I would like to, but I think I'm gonna have to in order to not get into a reading slump. So let me just talk you through the books that I'm kind of thinking that I will read. Some of these are must reads because they're for projects, and then other ones are just kind of they looked good on my shelf about 10 minutes ago, so I felt like I could read them. So the first one I've put on my list is for a project, and that is The Women by Kristen Hanna. I won't say what the project is for. It's something to do with Bookmas. So I'm hoping to read this one first. I'm going to hopefully start it today, which is the 30th of October, but I do need to finish Oathbringer first. I'll talk more about that shortly. But this is another historical fiction book by Kristen Hanna. I think this is focusing on the Vietnam War, and it's about the women who had to go over to Vietnam to not fight in the war, obviously, because I'm fairly sure they only had male soldiers, but they were also involved. And then they came back to the US and they were also dealing with a lot of the PTSD and trauma that the male soldiers were dealing with, but I guess no one really spoke about the women. I always love Kristen Hanna's books. I've read, I think, 4 or 5 so far, and they've been absolutely incredible, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I think this might be a low-key 5-star prediction, but I don't really want to say that out loud too much just in case it's not. So this is the first one that I'm going to be focusing on in November. I'm really excited for it. This next one is a pure mood read, or the next two, because I've been listening to the Epic the Musical soundtrack recently on repeat. I don't know if you've heard of it. I'll put a picture of what it looks like here. It's basically a musical retelling of the Odyssey. I discovered it through, I was watching someone's video and they said that they were a massive fan of it and they made some sort of joke. I was like, actually that sounds like something that I might enjoy, and it's up on Spotify and I've been listening to it non-stop, particularly the Cersei Saga, because I'm obsessed. That made me really want to read or reread Cersei by Madeline Miller, because I absolutely love this book and I would really like to get to it again. And I would also really like to try Ithaca by Claire North. This is about Penelope, who is Odysseus's wife, who's left back in Ithaca, who you don't really hear much about, so I would really like to read these 2 books. Hopefully I'm definitely going to love Cersei because I gave that 5 stars when I first read it, and hopefully I love Ithaca as well. This is the first in a trilogy, so if I like it, I would be very happy to carry on reading the rest of the series. I've also got a couple of books that I was meaning to read in October, but I didn't quite get to them. The first one is The God of the Woods. I've been seeing this one everywhere. It's a mystery thriller, more on the literary side, I think, and I've been seeing this all over Instagram. There's been a massive push for it and I'm convinced this is going to be chosen for the Goodreads Choice Awards, and it might have a good chance of winning. I'm just speculating here, I obviously don't know, so I would really like to read it because it sounds like it could be my kind of thing, and also that kind of gives me a head start on the Goodreads Choice Awards nominees. I don't really know how I'm going to be doing that this year. I don't know if I want to read a few books from every category or just all of the books from a certain category. So I'm kind of just reading a bit of everything that I can get my hands on right now to kind of prep for it, everything that I'm interested in, because I do really like the Goodreads Choice Awards. I know everyone moans about them being a popularity contest, but obviously that's what voting is, isn't it? It's a popularity contest. Yeah, looking forward to trying this one. Another one that I really wanted to get to in October but didn't quite was Sisters of the Lost Nation. This is a horror book about an Indigenous woman, I think. I don't know if it's YA. Women in this Native American community are vanishing and the main character is looking into how and why. I'm not sure where the horror elements come in. I don't know if it's paranormal horror or real person horror. Yeah, looking forward to reading this one. I've had my eye on it for a while and I'm glad that my library had a copy. And then the next few books, most of these are mood reads, to be fair. They're the ones that I was sort of staring at and was like, yes, you. The first one is An American Marriage. I have been wanting to read this for a while and I've left it on my nightstand to try and convince me to read it, but I just haven't gotten around to it, so I'm hoping to read this soon. This is about 2 newlyweds and they're basically the embodiment of the American dream, and then the husband is arrested and sentenced to a couple of decades in prison. I think it kind of follows their life in the lead up to that, also their time apart when the husband is incarcerated. I think the wife knows that he didn't commit this crime, so I don't know if she's fighting to get him out or to support him or something. I've had my eye on this for a while. It did win the Women's Prize for Fiction So I'd really like to read this one in November. It seems as though it's told partly in letters or mostly in letters. I'm not quite sure. So that's interesting. It's an interesting element. I've also picked up, as a mood read, Onyx and Ivory. This is a YA fantasy book, and I've read some books by Mindy Garnett before, but obviously not this one. I don't really know what it's about. I think like assassins. It says Kate Brighton inherited a title from her father after he tried to assassinate the king of Rhyme. Kate now works for the Royal Courier Service. She's born with forbidden magic and it allows her to influence animals. So this is the first in a duology, and I do own both of them because I found them at a charity shop. So if I like this one, I'm hoping to read the second one soon after and then finish up the duology, create some room on my shelves potentially, because I am running out of space. I'm interested in reading this. And then the next two books, they are kind of mood reads, but also therefore two projects. The first one being I would like to read the shortest books on my fantasy TBR shelf. I don't know which books are the shortest, apart from this one. This one is definitely the shortest, at just under 300 pages, I think. Yeah, so it's like 290, and it's clearly the shortest. So I'm going to read this one. It's Evocation by S.T. Gibson. I've not read anything by S.T. Gibson before, but I do have some more books by them on my shelf. I could potentially get to them if I enjoy this one. So I think this is more of like an urban fantasy, but I don't think it's set in our world. It says that the main character is called David, and he was a psychic prodigy, and he's approaching his 30th birthday. Oh, it mentions Boston, so it is set in our world. That's really cool because I do really enjoy a real life urban fantasy. So yeah, looking forward to trying this one and hopefully trying her writing. I have heard that this one's very different to her other books. I'll see how I'm doing. Also, I really like this cover. And then the last one that I'm doing or reading, hoping to read for a project, is The Chestnut Man. And I'm going to keep this project kind of a secret because it's partly for Vlogmas and Bookmas, and also I've tried to start this project before and I just haven't been able to for various reasons. So I'm just not going to say anything other than I will be reading The Chestnut Man, which is a Norwegian or Danish thriller. And I haven't read many Nordic thrillers before, but I've read a couple and I have really enjoyed the atmosphere. So I'm hoping to really enjoy this one. Oh yeah, it's set in Copenhagen in October, and the police make a terrible discovery. There's a psychopath terrorizing the city, and a young woman is found brutally murdered with one of her hands missing. The police find a fingerprint belonging to a young girl who was murdered a year ago, so everything seems to be connected. So I'd really like to try this one. It's obviously translated, so I'm hoping this is going to be a fun read. And then finally, the last book that I would like to read in November is hopefully Rhythm of War, but to be honest, I am just finishing up Oathbringer and I'm not loving it, so I'm not as keen to read Rhythm of War as quickly as I was originally planning to. I was hoping to read Oathbringer in October, Rhythm of War in November, and then be ready for the fifth book in December. But I don't think that's going to happen now. At least I'm not going to want to read the fifth book in December. I might still read Rhythm of War in November, but to be honest, I want a chill month, so I might not want to put myself through that. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on Rhythm of War. Is it better than Oathbringer, or is it sort of kind of along the same lines? I don't really know what to expect, and I think his books are just too long. It's a struggle, so there's no need for them to be over 1,000 pages. I don't think there's not enough happening in them, but we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I am hoping, like I said, for November to be a really chill month. It's my birthday month as well, and I'm hoping it can be a sort of like prepping month ready for December, because I've got a lot going on in December. I've got Bookmas, I've got a holiday, I've obviously got Christmas, so I would really like November to be a good build up to that. Let me know what you're reading in November in the comments below. Let me know which ones of these I should prioritise, and I will speak to you all in the next video. Bye.